Amir here, and welcome to part 6 of the Colonial House course. Alright, here we go. This is hopefully the final part of the modeling section of this course, and I'm going to begin by hiding the unnecessary parts of the building that we don't need, like the porch, the pillars, and the railings, and I'm going to place the first floor's windows in place. Let's start by unhiding all of the cutter objects that we have around our doors and window frames by pressing Alt-H. Let's also hide the roof and the tiles. Then select the main planks, go to the modifiers panel and add a Boolean modifier. Then select this cage as our object, select the empty on the bottom of the window, press G, Y and move it back and put it in place. But we also have this main mesh behind our planks, so for now I'm just going to hide my main planks and I'm going to add a Boolean modifier to the main mesh and select the cage as my object. I'm going to set the solver to fast and it's going to cut into it. Hide everything else real quick. Then I'm just going to select the cage, the window, and everything inside it, deselect everything else, Shift D to duplicate it, put it here, Shift D again, and put it here. Now each of these are parented to their own empty, so if I move the empty, I'll move the window, and let's just adjust them, and I think that's good. Now let's select the main mesh, duplicate our Boolean modifier and select the second cage as our object, duplicate it again, select the other cage, and now all of them are ready. Let's unhide the main door, select the main.extra mesh and add a Boolean modifier, select the door's cage, set the solver to fast, and let's select the empty, press G and Y, move it into place, and that's good. Let's unhide the second window, rotate it 90 degrees, and place it on the side of the porch here. Add another Boolean modifier to the main mesh, set the solver to fast and select the cage, select the empty, G, X, and move it back into place. Then I'm going to unhide the second door and do the same thing as the second window. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, place it where it should be, add another Boolean modifier, and so on and so forth. When the door is in place, I'm going to select it, Shift D and duplicate it and move it to the side. Add another Boolean modifier to the main mesh and select the cage. And that's good. I'm going to duplicate this window again, rotate it 90 degrees and put it to the far side of the building. And again, add another Boolean modifier, select the cage, and that's it. And let's just push it into place. Let's turn everything else on. And this is what we got so far. Okay, now let's hide everything except the main planks. The only thing I'm going to do for the planks is I'm going to open the bevel modifier, then open the shading dropdown and check the harden normals. Then I'm going to right click and shade auto smooth. Also in the solidify modifier options, if the only rim is not checked already, check it. I'm going to do this process for both of them. And when that's done, I'm just going to select each modifier, press Ctrl A and apply it. Now let's unhide the main door. Now there's a small problem. The cutter object is cutting right through the middle of one of the planks, and we do not want that. We want it to cut the planks right in the middle, so we will not have planks with faces more than 4 vertices, which is going to cause shading artifacts later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up a bit, then I'm going to tap into edit mode on my cutter object, select this bottom face, move it down so it cuts right through the bottom plank all the way, this upper face, and move it up. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the main extra planks. I'm going to tab into edit mode. These blue edges that you see are just bevel weights, so don't worry about them. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the vertices in the main.extra mesh. Then I'm going to press P and I'm going to separate everything by loose parts. Then I'm going to select this bit, Control J to join. Then I'm going to select these bottom ones and Control J to join these. And this way, we're having two separate meshes. Our Boolean is not going to affect the top mesh and our problem will be solved. Now let's just select these bottom planks. Then from the modifier panel, add a Boolean modifier and select the cutter cube as our object. Set the solver to fast, and you can see it has a problem, so I'm just going to select the cutter object, tab into edit mode, select that top face, move it up, then select the bottom face and move it down, and it'll be fixed. I'm actually going to change the solver to exact and set it from difference to union, and then I'm going to apply the modifier. I'm going to turn the main mesh behind our planks back on. And as you can see, we have changed the shape of our cutter cube, and that has caused our main mesh to be cut in a weird way. But now we have already applied the Boolean modifier on the planks, so we can just go ahead and change the shape of our cutter cube. I'm going to select it, tab into edit mode, bring this bottom face up and top face down, and that's good. We can apply the modifier now. I'm going to clean up the main mesh's geometry by tabbing on it and going into edit mode. And on the back, select this face, press X and face to delete it. And I think that's good for now. We can see inside the building. And I think that's done. Now I'm going to repeat the same exact process for our windows. I'm going to select the planks, tab into edit mode, then separate by loose parts. Select these, press Ctrl J to join, then add a Boolean modifier, duplicate it again and again. Select each cutter object individually for each Boolean, set it to union and exact, then repeat the process for the other windows. Then apply all of the Boolean modifiers and select and Ctrl J to join the rest of the planks. Then let's turn our main mesh back on, add some Boolean modifiers and do the same things again. Apply them. Then select the main mesh, tap into edit mode and select these back faces. Press X and faces to delete them. And then go ahead, do the exact same thing for the double window and the two secondary doors that we got. I'm not going to explain it again. So here's just a quick time lapse. Now for the second floor, second row of windows, we're going to enable our second floor windows, and we're going to move them in place. And this is going to be the exact same process of placing the windows in the right spot, then duplicate them all over the building and separate the planks, add some booleans and everything that we've been doing so far. So again, here's another quick time lapse until we're done and we're ready to work on the third floor, which is going to be a bit more tricky. And with that, let's just select and hide all of our cutter objects and take a look at what we've got so far in rendered view. Okay, for the third row of windows, we're just going to use the first floor windows and duplicate them and place them up there. So I'm just gonna hide every unnecessary part of the building, and that includes the walls and the planks. And let's just select these windows. We're gonna press Shift D and we're gonna move them up. Let's select the empties, press S and scale all of them down a bit so that they're smaller than the first floor windows. And let's make a double window. So I'm just gonna select these two, press Shift D and bring it up. And I'm not going to change anything about the geometry. I'm just going to select one of the empties, press GX and move it closer to the second one and try to get it as close as possible. Then I'm going to select these cutter objects around them and I'm going to press Ctrl J to join them, press slash to isolate them, then tap into edit mode. Now I'm going to get rid of this gap between them and make this into like one object. I'm going to select these inner faces, press X and faces and delete them. Then I'm going to select these, press F to join them, then select these two and these two, press F to join them, then these four, F to join them, and these four and F to join them. And this will be our cutter object for our double window. Now I'm just gonna have to remove one of the empties. So I'm gonna select the window. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl P and keep object transform. And now this empty is useless. I'm gonna delete it. Let's just move it and place it right here on top of the double window on the side. Then let's select and press Shift D, duplicate all of them, move them here. Select this empty and rotate it 90 degrees around the Z axis. Then select this one and rotate this one around 90 degrees as well. And we actually don't need these, so let's just delete them. Let's move this back. I'm going to press 7 on the numpad and place the windows on the wall. Select and duplicate this window. Press G and Y, move it here. Then move the double window and place it on top of the second floor's double window. And then duplicate this one more time. Shift D, G, Y, and place it here. Move the double window back and place it on the wall. And for our extruded section, let's select this window, press Shift D and duplicate it, and move it up here. Press G and Y and bring it out. And select the empty, press S and make it a bit smaller. Let's select the empty on all of our windows, since I think they are too high on the roof. Press G and Z, move all of them down, select this one, move it up a bit. Then let's move these to the side a bit, and this one to the side a little bit. And I think this is good. The third row windows are all in place, and we can move on to more adjustments. Now, one of the details the third floor windows are going to need is this little cover on top of them that's going to extrude out of the roof and over the windows. And in order to make them, I'm going to select the window, tab into edit mode, and select this loop of faces, then press Shift D and duplicate them. Then I'm going to press P and separate by selection, select it, tab into edit mode, press A to select all of it, and Alt E to extrude it along normals. Then I'm going to select these vertices and use the snapping tool, press G and Z and snap them so they're the same level with this one. I'm going to do this for the other side as well. I'm going to select and delete these back faces since we're not going to need them. Then I'm going to select the front faces, press G and Y and move them forward to make the whole thing bigger. Then I'm going to select these three faces and press E and extrude them outwards. Then I'm going to select each of these vertices while the X-ray mode is activated and snap them here, and then bring them down and snap them here on the Z-axis so they are level with the rest. Then I'm going to select them, press P and separate by selection. I'm going to select this arc, tab into edit mode and select these vertices, press E and use the snapping tool to recreate the shape again. Then I'm going to select 4x4 vertices, press F to fill in the faces again. Then let's select these back faces, press X and delete them. And let's select these edges, right click and mark sharp. I'm also going to add a mirror modifier to this little extrusion. I'm going to set the axis to Z and that's it. I'm going to apply the mirror modifier and Control J to join these little shapes with the arc. And I'm going to add a bevel modifier to the whole thing. Set the segments to 2 and bring down the amount. And I think that looks good enough. Let's select these planks and add a Boolean modifier. Select the cutter object and set it to union. Set the solver to fast. Actually set the Boolean to difference, not union. And let's move this back. That's too much. Let's select this, tab into edit mode and make it bigger. Move the whole window a bit forward so it doesn't clip with the wall. Then let's unhide the roof extra mesh, add a Boolean modifier to that as well. Select the cutter object and apply the Boolean. Turn on the main extra mesh, add a Boolean to this as well. Select the cutter object and apply the Boolean. Let's turn everything back on and take a look at it in rendered view. This is how it looks. To do a bit of cleanup, let's turn off the planks, select roof extra mesh and delete these inner faces. And let's move on to other windows. The process of adding the cover to the rest of the windows is pretty repetitive since we already covered it. I'm going to show you a quick time lapse. Now I'm just going to duplicate this, clear the parent, and put it on the double window on the other side. And these single windows are extremely simple. You're just going to make one and duplicate it to all of the rest. Here I realized that in my reference there aren't two separate windows here but one double window, so I deleted them and duplicated my double window over. And from here I started adding Boolean modifiers to each of my cutter objects, and since this is pretty repetitive and we have already covered every step to this process on the double window on our main extruded part, I'm just going to show you a quick time lapse. Here my cutter object wasn't big enough to make it through the roof, so I pressed tab to go into edit mode and select the back faces, extended them a bit, and select the front faces and extended them also a little bit forward. For the roof tiles, the process was exactly similar, except it was glitchy when I set the solver to exact, but when I changed the solver to fast, it seemed to solve the issue. After the windows were done, to do a little bit of optimization, I duplicated my roof extra and used it as a cutter object to cut through this tile section to optimize my mesh a bit more. Then I cleaned up all the stray vertices by deleting them. Then turned everything back on, and on my main roof I deleted these unnecessary inside faces so we could see through the windows. I also tabbed into edit mode and made my outer frame of all of my windows a bit thicker since there was this little gap between the roof tiles and the window frames. Very simple, we've already covered it, so time lapse. And with that, we are almost done with this part. Let's select all of our color objects and put them in a new collection, call it Booleans, and take a look at our mesh in rendered view. this is what we've got so far.